Pulse Talk, bringing insights into health and wellness with your hosts, Christine and Alex.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. We're tackling a topic today that I know has been on a lot of your minds lately, making cancer care more accessible in Malaysia. You've sent us some really thought-provoking articles on Alpro Pharmacy's OnceHelp program, and let me tell you, what they're doing is incredible.
It's seriously impressive. You know, the cost of cancer treatment is a massive problem everywhere, but in Malaysia, it can be really, really tough.
No kidding. Imagine getting hit with a life-altering diagnosis like cancer, and on top of everything else, you're suddenly facing these impossible financial choices. And I don't use the word impossible lightly. There's this study, the 𝐴SIAN Costs in Oncology study, and it found that within a year of diagnosis, something like almost half of Malaysian cancer patients are in serious financial trouble because of treatment costs.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking because it's not just headlines, you know? That same study revealed some really hard-hitting facts. 46% of patients completely wipe out their savings. 39% can't even afford the medications they need. And get this, 19% actually have to stop treatment altogether because of the cost.
Okay, hold on a sec, because those numbers are just awful. These aren't just statistics, right? We're talking about human beings, families, lives, totally upended by this. These are people who need to be focusing all their energy on getting better, not on whether they can afford another round of chemo.
Exactly. And it's not always even just the treatment itself. Late detection, unfortunately, that can lead to more complex and way more expensive procedures down the line, which just adds to the financial burden.
It's like this awful domino effect. But here's a little light at the end of the tunnel. Alpro Pharmacy saw this crisis unfolding, and they decided to do something really radical. They created the OnceHelp program. And I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but
yeah,
they're providing cancer medications at cost.
I know. It's unheard of, right? This whole cost in to cost out thing means they're literally making zero profit on these medications that people desperately need. They just want to make treatment affordable, period. It's like they're turning the whole pharmacy model on its head.
I was floored when I read that. Putting patient well-being ahead of profit margins. In this day and age, that's a powerful statement.
Yeah, and it's really inspiring to see someone stepping up like that. And it's not just about making the meds cheaper either. They've actually built this whole support system around it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about, okay, how can we make the meds less expensive, but how can we make the whole experience less overwhelming for patients? So tell me a little more about that support system.
So get this, they have a dedicated OnceHelp team available 7 days a week, weekends included, and it's staffed with doctors, pharmacists, even counselors. You know, it's like having this team of people in your corner guiding you every step of the way.
Wow, so they're there if you have questions, if you're feeling lost and confused and overwhelmed. That must be such a relief.
Absolutely. It's all about giving people peace of mind when they're going through something as difficult as this. And they didn't even stop there, Alpro. They also really wanted to streamline the whole process of getting medication.
Oh, really? How'd they do that?
They formed partnerships, direct partnerships with distributors and suppliers to make sure that the delivery is faster and that people aren't waiting so long to get what they need.
That's huge.
Yeah.
When you're talking about something as time-sensitive as cancer treatment, every day counts.
Exactly. But then they were thinking, okay, what else can we do? Because obviously finances are a huge worry for people. So they actually help patients navigate the world of financial aid.
So they're like advocates.
Totally. They actually work directly with banks and insurers to help patients understand, you know, what kind of payment plans are out there, what kind of support might be available. In fact, they've partnered with Hong Leong Bank to offer 0% interest rates and extended payment plans specifically for cancer treatment.
Wow, that's incredible. Talk about taking a weight off someone's shoulders. It's like they literally sat down and thought of every single thing that could be difficult about going through the cancer journey and said, okay, how can we make this easier? And that level of commitment, this really holistic view of patient care, you know, it's not just Alpro's vision. It actually aligns really well with Malaysia's national goals for cancer care.
That's right. What they're doing feeds directly into Malaysia's cancer control program, which has been pushing for early detection, timely treatment, and of course, sustainable financing for cancer care. So it's not like they're off doing their own thing. It's really setting an example, I think, for the whole country.
Yeah, they're like leading by example and saying, look, this is what can be done when you really make the patient the priority. But I think the big question on everyone's mind is, okay, this sounds amazing on paper, but is it actually working? Like, what kind of impact is Alpro actually having with this program?
Right, that's the million-dollar question. It's Honestly, still pretty early days for the program, so we don't have tons and tons of long-term data yet. But even now, we can start to see the impact it could have.
Okay, so walk me through that then. What kind of difference could this program make if it's as successful as everyone's hoping?
Well, if you think about it, if Alpro really can make treatment more affordable, we could see a whole ripple effect of positive things happening.
Like what, for example?
Well, for one, people might be less likely to delay or interrupt treatment because of cost.
Right, that makes sense.
Which means they'd be more likely to stick to their treatment plan. And in the end, that could mean higher survival rates and a better quality of life, during and after treatment.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not constantly worried about money, it frees you up to just, focus on getting better.
Exactly.
And it's not all about the numbers either, is it? I mean, think about the emotional impact this could have.
Right, exactly. That's where that whole holistic approach they've got going on makes such a difference. When you have a dedicated support team, when you're not trying to figure out the financial side of things all on your own, it takes away so much of the anxiety and fear that people naturally feel when they're facing a cancer diagnosis. Alpro's program, it really has the potential to take what's often this terrifying and isolating experience and make it, if not easy, at least a little more manageable.
It's really amazing what they're doing. One of the articles even mentioned that they're working with the National Cancer Society in Malaysia to provide nutritional supplements to patients.
I saw it too. It just goes to show how committed they are to, the whole picture of well-being. They're not just focused on the disease itself, but on making sure the person is nourished and supported, physically and emotionally.
It's honestly really inspiring. It makes you wonder, though, what if this is just the start? What if what Alpro is doing, this whole idea of really putting the patient first, what if that sparks something bigger, a real change in how we think about healthcare?
Right. Wouldn't that be something? Imagine a world where everyone has access to quality care, especially for something as complex and as scary as cancer. It shouldn't matter how much money you make, right?
Right.
And I know Alpro's program is still new, but it's so full of possibility. It could really be a turning point in how we approach healthcare accessibility, not just in Malaysia, but globally.
It's a huge sign of hope, that's for sure. And it's a great reminder that sometimes it takes a big, bold move, to shake things up and create real meaningful change. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive for today. But before we go, I want to leave you with something to think about. We've been talking about cancer care today, but what other areas of healthcare could use this kind of compassionate, patient-centered approach? What else could we be doing to make sure that everyone has access to the care they need when they need it? That's something I think we all need to be thinking about. Until next time, thanks for listening.